Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm just waiting for my friend Courtney. Okay, Courtney is here. I need to see how this works. Send a request. Okay. I think I did it.
Yeah, you did it! You did it! Okay.
Hey!
Hi!
This is hilarious. I love it. Hold on. Let me get this better. Oh my god. Yay! Okay, you cut the bangs. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks so much better than just the side swap situation.
Okay, I feel like that needs to be like your hair permanently.
This actually was my hair for like so long. When I was in grad school, this was my haircut and my hair color.
Was it? Okay, I can totally see that. Wait, let me, sorry. I'm gonna shut in case it gets loud. 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay!
Hi.
But maybe we just start.
Okay, sounds good. I have my cards here because I always have my cards when I'm doing lives and they just make me feel better.
Oh, good. Love it. Maybe we'll pull one. Okay. So, I think maybe we should just start.
Go for it.
Thank you. The little pep dance. I need.
Yes, this is my Leo hype you up dance.
Okay, so yeah, if everyone didn't know, I have a Leo with me, and we're like in full on gear. Okay, so let's just start. So hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Solaris, paranormal romance author of the Orion's Order series, and today I have my friend Courtney, my really good friend Courtney. She's here with me. She's here. We're going to talk all the things Orion's Order, Calypso's Heart, Riker's Key, even maybe Deacon Star, and also just any author writing questions. Also, I asked her to be here because I've never done another live with someone before, and I needed to know how this works. And so I asked Courtney if she'd be my guinea pig. And so we, of course, decided to wear wigs.
Because I mean, why not?
Why not? And also the fangs.
I bought these especially for you.
Thank you. Thank you. On my other live with the fang situation.
I'm obsessed.
So yeah, this is just supposed to be fun and silly and just like a chat with your best friend. That's the whole point of these. Is nothing like
what we are.
Yeah, nothing serious or anything. So I love the fact that you have cards with you.
I do. I have my Light Series deck with me.
Ooh,
one of my favorites.
I love it. Maybe pull a card.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, that one just flew right out.
Yay!
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we pulled the Eight of Cups. This one jumped right out of the deck. And the cups tend to represent all of the things that we hold on to emotionally. So things that we connect to that bring us joy, that bring us harmony, that bring us love. And as you can see, this woman is walking away from the cup. And thank you. And she has this bowl here, this cup here with fire in it. And so this represents something that she was holding on to, that she felt like maybe was for her, that was going to give her the fulfillment that she needed. But she knew in the back of her mind that there was something that was going to be even bigger, even better, even more bright, bring her more joy, more love, more harmony. And she had to make that potentially extremely hard decision to leave behind what she knew she had for something she might not be sure of, because she had that feeling in her heart, like, I know there's something better out there for me, and I trust this internal guidance, this intuition within me that's going to lead me towards something even bigger and even better. So cool. That's really exciting.
I love that. And I feel like that immediately I was, for anyone who read, well, I think that theme can be woven almost through all maybe 4 books so far, but the second book, Riker's Key, the main character is Kina, and she leaves behind a couple times. It's one of those relationships that is toxic and abusive and emotionally, and also I won't give any spoilers, but it's an abusive, toxic relationship, and it's one of those ones where it was circling back around, and so she's had to leave it behind a couple times, and then the final time it was a lot that happened, and then you'll see that in book 2. So that's interesting. And also in book 3 is Deacon and Star's book, and Star, so she's a fire elemental. So when you were talking about the fire in the bowl,
Yeah.
And her walking away, Star also has a past that she has to face and head on, and then make the decision to like move past it. And so I feel like that really is representative of her as well, and her journey that you'll see in book 3 when it comes out.
I love that. And as you were speaking too, I was thinking of like that bright light in the tunnel that Callie sees, and like walking towards and through to this dreamscape land. And it reminds me of that too a little bit. So I feel like it could totally be woven into all 3 books.
Yeah, I love that. And when she does, she goes into the tunnel, the dream tunnel, and it's interesting because I guess I'll share it here. That actually came up because that happens to me in my dreams. So
oh my God.
Yep, and that's how it was. And actually the dream tunnel in my dreams is like it's not all pitch black. It's like multicolored, like rainbow-ish, and it's like a tunnel. And so when that happens to me in my dreams, it sounds so weird. We're going like, well, of course we are. We're going way off.
Who are you talking to right now? Who are you talking to?
Immediately we pulled a card and we're starting to go there. Okay, so
Here for it.
When this happens in my dreams, it's scary, and it is. You have to make at least I do. I make the decision like, okay, I'm gonna go. Like I'm gonna go through the tunnel and like leave the fear and the stuff behind. Yeah, so it is. It's like a decision to move forward. And for Callie's journey, she has plenty of those decisions where she doesn't need to, but she makes the decision of like, okay, this isn't serving me anymore, so I'm gonna just go with it. And like she's a fun character because she does things like off the fly, like things like I would never do. Like, I mean, she slept with Blake like immediately, but I get it. It's like they're like fated mates, so they had like the pull, right? Like the undeniable pull. But she does things like I would have never done in my life, and it's just really funny. And she's a fun character in that way.
What I find so funny about that is when I'm reading the books, at least when I was reading the first book, the way that she speaks and the way that she thinks sometimes was so much like, I'm literally here talking to Marina right now. Like, oh my God, that's crazy. And so yeah, to have that moment where it was like so much you and so much not you at the same time was like amazing.
That does happen. It is interesting though, and so it's interesting to like, it's like almost parallel universe to be like, well, like what would I do in that situation? And it's just not, it's not what I would do. Like she immediately is like, okay, we're going. Like,
Go in.
makes me jokes, and I'm like, I wish I was like that quick on the fly, like to make jokes like that in real life. It does not work like that.
After the fact, always after the fact.
After the fact, you're like, damn it, I came up with like 20 other jokes right now, and it's like 5 hours later.
That Virgo energy, I swear to God, I get it too with my moon. I'm like, that would have been hilarious. Hilarious if I said it 10 hours ago.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, going back to the dream tunnel. So one of the things that I find super fascinating is hearing about your process and how you come up with these ideas for your books. And why I say come up with these ideas, like when you channel these characters and these stories from an alternate dimension. And so did that image specifically come from the fact that that is what happens to you in your dreams? And like, are you going into the dream tunnels? Is that part of like what happens? Like, tell me that process a little bit.
Yeah, good question. So broad scale, the things that happen in my dreams, a lot of it is in the books. Just whether it's like a little piece or like I told you before, they're like a whole, you're like, that happened in one night. And I'm
One
like,
dream, you had like 9 books.
in one night. Yeah. So whether it's like a little snippet, like I just hear like a word or I see like a vision, like in and I'll tell you, oh, my fang fell out. Hold on. This is the this is the one that I messed up. And that I was telling you I really need to redo because they only give you 2 tries. So talk about anxiety when you're like, oh, I only have 1 more left. Yeah, anyways. So, okay, so a lot of the things that happen in the dreams, and I'll tell you one from last night. Not right now, I'll tell you in a second because that one was really interesting. But so in the dreams, the dream tunnel specifically, that's not what I was thinking. So when I very first sat down to write Calypso's Heart, it was a couple of days of like, I was realizing when I was writing down, sorry, this is coming out weird, but when I first started writing it, it wasn't like I sat down like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a fantasy book. I'm going to write these characters. Like, it was nothing like that. I woke up that day and I just started to write like a vampire, and this is what they are. This is what a vampire is in this world. And I wrote down a wolf shifter, which ended up being Blake, right? And I wrote down what his thing was, and it was like these dossiers or like these bios. And so that's how like I started. And then I just was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna write this. And so then I sat down and I opened up a Google Doc and I typed chapter 1 and then I space I just sat there for a second, and then all of a sudden this image popped in my head, and it was this tunnel, the dream tunnel, not the same one that I see in mine, but it was what Callie sees, and it's just the black tunnel with like the pinprick of light ahead. And then it was just, everything I write is just exactly how I was seeing, and then it's getting bigger and bigger. And I realized, oh, I'm getting closer to it. And so that's how that all worked out.
That is wild. I love how your brain works.
Hey, Tara. I know, I was going to say it's really late for you, 11 o'clock. Well, thank you. You can watch the replay. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you about...
Tell me about your dream.
Okay, well, maybe I should have had it booted up. I wasn't thinking I was going to talk about it, but okay, so I will. I have my laptop here because I had to take notes. This isn't a long one. It's just a really quick... So last night, I'm in the water. It's dark. It's like ocean water, and it's dark, but there's the moonlight, and so it's like kind of like a silvery, just illuminated a little bit. And then I'm in the middle of the water in the ocean. It's sea salt water. I don't know how I know that, but it's sea salt water. And then all of a sudden, there's like this, you can't see my hand, but in front of me, there's this like, the water gets like darker and darker. And then all of a sudden this like thing emerges from the water. And,
is it the blob?
No. That's another. Wow, I forgot about that. This thing emerges from the water, and I realize it's the top of someone's head. It's like exactly like this. She had like a middle part too, but it was like dark black hair. And it's starting to come out of the water, but there's like fog and mist, like tendrils of fog and mist, like not natural, like out of, it's hard to describe. It's like as if she's like emerging, but she's like coated in this like fog mist. Okay. And so this being is coming out of the water, and she has this dark black hair, black eyes, black lips, black tongue, black mouth, like everything. But her skin is like pale, pallid, like moonlight, as if she's a creature of the night, right? Okay, and she looks like a badass. I don't know if I can cuss on here. Can we cuss on
Yes, you cuss on here.
She looked like a badass queen, like regal, and then like behind her was like 4 or 5 because they also rose out of the water. Like, I'm guessing they were like her sentinels or something. And so she starts rising out of the water, and I was like, what is happening right now? Like, I don't understand. And okay, so I started to write notes, and so yeah, she has long black hair, and like the shadows that curl around them, it's like, it reminded me of like, okay, so like in the water, you know how like an octopus would like squirt ink and it creates like this cloud, and then they can like go away, like get away or do whatever. So like imagine that like inky cloud, but like it could happen in the water, but it also like in the air around her. Like that's a part of something of her. And then so like let me see. But I like, so black lips and stuff, but I think it was like such dark purple that's like in the light, in certain lighting, I feel like. Anyways, and so I also feel like I get the feeling like her blood is like that dark purple color, but when it hits like the oxygen or the air, it turns like a bluish color. Anyways, okay, so this is what I wrote. Sleek, stunning, deadly, like a poisonous flower that is exquisitely beautiful and equally lethal. An instinct will naturally tell you that you're in the presence of a predator. And so I said this, I was like, you're a mermaid. And then she was like, Seraphim. And I was like, okay, sorry. And the way she said it was like, wrong. Like, you have it wrong. And I was like, okay, sorry. And it was like all queen-like, not like, it was like she was used to being categorized. I don't know. And so, but Seraphim is Serafin. And that's important because as I was writing about them this morning, I was like looking it up, and I was like, why was she so like distinctive on that? So what was coming to me was their tails. The fin on the tail has like the bones in the tail. Okay, this is going really, people are like, this is nothing to do with
No, this is so fascinating.
Anyway, so the bones in the tail on her fin are, so like Sarah, I was looking up like, what does Sarah mean? Sera. And it's like bars or like locks or yeah, like you can look it up. But anyways, something like that. And then as I was seeing, I was like, okay, so this makes sense because the tail and the bones are actually like barbs. And so they like shoot out like poisonous darts. And so the tail has these like it's crazy. And so it's like a one shot, and then they have to like regenerate. But also that's not all with their Barbie tails. They like, there's more to this, the barb or like the bar, because like in jellyfish, there's like the stingers are, I think they're called like nematocysts or something. They're like coiled around, and they're basically like an arrow that's ready to like shoot out, and it's all coiled. That's how the jellyfish stingers like work.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if I'm remembering right from like biology class, but so they're like all coiled in, and that's what they also have in their tails. So their tails are stingable. They sting as well.
Oh, so like the tail itself has that too, not just the barbs.
Yeah, the barbs are like not like a one time, they can regenerate, but it's like a last resort. Like they will shoot out poisonous darts like in defense. But then they also have like these stingers, like these barbs, tiny little, like hundreds on their little, these parts of the fin, like they sting. Anyway, so I'm starting, I should have prefaced, like I'm starting to see a lot of like water and mermaid type-esque things, because I feel like that's, I mean, I've seen it for a while, but I feel like that's where the next series.
Will this be, do you think that character will be part of what you already kind of have outlined in terms of that world, or is this a different one?
She's in the Cece's world for sure, and she will probably show up more in the next series I think I'm going to write after Orion's Order. I can't even remember what your original question was. It was about dreams or something, but anyway.
Oh yeah, just how like you basically channel your books and like you dream a lot about these things, and then that turns into what it is that you're writing, right?
Yeah, that's that's what we were talking about. Yep. So it definitely. I feel like I don't like. I know some right. Well, I'll just say my process is it's just like it just shows up in my head, and then I just write it down. I don't really feel like I plan it out or be like, oh, this would be really cool if this happens. Like I feel like it just shows up in my head, and then it's like my job to write it down. Like okay.
I love that. So like when you were writing, like when you started writing Orion's Order, did you know where it was going to go? Like, did you have a plan for all of the books, or was it like, this is Blake and Kelly's book, and then this is Riker and Kina's book, and then this is Deacon and Star's book? Like, did you know that that's where it was going to go, or was it just like kind of like you were unsure about it until you started writing each one?
So good question. I knew some of it because I've seen it already. So when I was writing book 1, I was already seeing things for book 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 7 is what I think there will be. From day
That's last I heard it was going to be 5. What?
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, it really depends. I don't know, but from day 1, I put on that one Google Doc that I was telling you where I wrote Shifter and Vampire, that same Google Doc, I wrote 7. And then later on, I was like, oh no, like it'll be 1 per character, male character. And so I was thinking 5, but now that I'm writing book 4, it really does look like it's going to be 7. So, that's just kind of how it works sometimes. What was your other part of the question? I can't even remember anymore.
Just that if you were given all of the different plot points and the eventual ending when you first started, or if that kind of came as you went.
So some I've seen, even from book 1, I've seen like way ahead of time. Like when I was writing book 1, I was already writing I already started to see scenes of the ending of book 2 and certain like things that happen in book 3, and that happens like as I'm writing. So like when I was writing book 2, and I didn't know until towards the end of writing book 1 that Riker was going to be next, and then Deacon, it's the same thing. I was like, when I was like about halfway through writing Riker's Key, I knew it was going to be Deacon Star next. And I already had all the book covers, like I've already seen them all. So it's like I already knew who was going to get what and what was kind of going on there. And so even when I was writing book 2, or it's like I see multiple books ahead of time of like certain glimpses, whether it's like a huge thing that happens or just like little glimpses. It's like, it kind of reminds me of the seer characters in the books, because it's like, you'll see things and, things could change, but depending on like if people make a decision or, free will and all that, but like, it's like I see things in the future. And so, I just have to like piece it all together. So like by the time I'm writing book 4, like I'm almost done writing the first draft, I had like all these scenes like already written, and I just needed to like flesh it out and like move it around. And so yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. I find that so interesting. And are you finding too that as you move through the books that you're writing, that you're getting, I mean, obviously when you started with book 1, you didn't have a lot to go on except for just that one dream, that one experience, that one channeled thing. And then as you start writing, you're getting glimpses into the future of the other books. And now that you're on book 4, do you feel like you have outlines and ideas and scenes for the other books more so than when you did maybe like book 2? Or not really?
Yes. It's pretty similar. I would say there's so much that happens in book 4. So by the time I got to book 4, it was like, I don't know how many pages, like, I don't know, 100 or 200 pages of just the outline of like all these scenes. And then, so right now, as I was kind of sharing about mermaids and this and that, I have like at least, I think 3, I don't know if it's going to be like, I shouldn't even say it, but I have about 3-ish books that are kind of outlined for what will be this next series. And I see how the series Orion's Order transitions into the next series that I think I'm going to write, which is about like water beings. If you didn't catch the drift earlier.
You've told me about so many different ideas that you have for series, and every single time you tell me about it, I'm like, that's the one I want you to do next. No, that's the one I want you to do next. No, this one. This is the one.
I know. That's how I feel. It's like there's so many, like in my last newsletter, I just shared part 1 of like a snippet of, I don't know, I don't think I shared this one with you. It's called The Dragon King. So
you did. That was a bedtime story you told me.
Oh, I did. Oh my God.
Yes.
I remember that. I totally remember that. I just shared like a little snippet. Oh wait, are you still there? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I shared like a little snippet in the newsletter. I don't know if I shared the scene with you though.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Because it came out later. I can't because the part 2 of the newsletter is coming later. But anyways, it was about dragons. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I forgot. What was...
Oh, I was talking about how like every single time you tell me about like different series, I'm like, they're all my favorite.
Yeah. I really want the dragon stories. And this is not in the species world. These dragons are not in the species world. They're in a totally different world. But I really want to write those too. I want to write like all the ones I've shared with you. Like so many.
I know. Do you ever feel like that you have so much information in your head and like so much information coming through? You're like, oh my God, like why does it take so long to write all of these? Like I just want to get them all out on paper.
Yes, all the time. And I'm also like, why are the books 700 pages long? That's not an exaggeration. Why are they literally 700 pages long? Like if I wrote books that were shorter, then I could get through a lot more books. So, yeah, I do. I feel like there's just so many stories, so little time. I wish I mean, I guess I kind of write fast in a way, but yeah, not that fast, but.
I can't wait. I can't wait for them all.
I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I wrote down a couple questions for you. Beat here. I think I know the answer to this. If you lived in the species world, what species would you be?
Okay, so I thought about this question all day, and I had 2 answers, because ideally, if I got to pick, I would be a shifter. Like, I want to be a wolf, like, obviously. However, if I'm being like realistic to like who I am and like what I do, like I'd be a Styrian. Like, yeah. I mean, like there's no question that that's what I would be. So I would want to be a shifter, but I'm pretty much a Styrian.
Okay, so half and half.
Okay, I'll take half and half.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, if Callie's like, oh wait, no spoilers. So, anyways. Anything is possible in the world of species when the magic of life is involved.
That would be the ideal. That would be the ideal.
Okay, so I was wrong. I thought you were going to say like, oh, well, wolf shifter. I was like, yeah, but I also thought you were going to say vampire.
I mean, Do I have a crush on Nico? Yeah, I do. Do I really love, stone cold assholes? Like, yeah, I fucking do. Like, it's just part of who I am. But there's something about the primal nature of like being able to like shift back and forth between human and wolf that like speaks to like that wild part inside of me that wants to just be able to like run through the forest in the middle of the night and howl the top of my lungs and just have a different relationship with the four elements around me. And that I think is one of the reasons that being able to be, and I would be a wolf, but that would be one of the reasons I'd want to be part animal. And also I'm also currently reading another book about shifters, so it's just on my mind, and I just love them so much. I love them so much.
I know. I love shifters. They will always hold a special place in my heart.
The loyalty and the like protectiveness of their pack and their people and their commitment, and it's just, I just love that.
I agree.
What would you be?
Oh, this is so hard. That's like such a hard question. I've thought about this, first of all, way too long, way too often, because I can't decide. And I think a part of it is because when I'm in the character, like writing their story so much, I'm like, I'll be, it'd be this character or this species. But it's like, then I'm like, no, but I also want to, be a mermaid and be a dragon.
Dude, I know, I just thought that after I said all that. I'm like, duh, I wouldn't want to be a mermaid. I want to be all of them. Well, it's such a hard question.
And be able to swim in the water and be on 4 legs and be furry and like and then be a creature of the night. Like, why not? I don't know. I can't answer that question. It's too hard.
It's so hard.
Sorry, I asked it of you.
You're like, I'm not going to be interviewed right now. Bye.
Right. Okay. Let me see. Oh, do you have a favorite quote or scene from Calypso's Heart or Riker's Key? I don't even, Well,
okay. Also thought about this. And, pure narcissism is the answer to this question, because obviously it's the stick shift line.
Oh, I think that's what you're about to say. Oh. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what the heck she's talking about, so Callie is on a date with someone. She's on a date with someone. Callie's on a date with someone, and she is talking about how she's had worse dates. Wait, is this when this happens? I don't even remember.
No, I don't think so. I think she's in the car. I feel like she was like in the car driving to work before she spills her coffee.
Okay, so like in the very, very beginning. Whatever. The point is, Callie's like, I have the book right here too.
So do I.
I just, I turned my head. You guys could probably see like I have this button in the back.
Look at that. Look at that. This is what happens when your best friend's a writer.
I can't remember when it happens either, but I remember what it is, and this is what happens.
Oh, I found it. It's on page 13.
How did you find it so quickly?
I just opened to it because I'm a Styrian. Can I read that? Can I read a little bit?
Read it.
Okay.
He's reading.
God, I'm so over all the dumb dating games, hence why I've sworn off guys right now, especially considering my track record, however short and pathetic it may be, not to mention the fact that the last date I went on was with Eric, aka Mr. Stick Shift. Why was he so obsessed with his manual transmission car anyways? I guess the one and only time I tried online dating could have gone worse though.
Okay, so do you want to explain why this is your favorite scene?
Yes, I will. Okay. So, a few years ago now, I don't even remember when it was, I was on Bumble, I think it was, and I met this guy, and we decided.
No, Bumble's a dating app.
Okay, Bumble's a dating app.
No, is it like worldwide big? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's just owned by, like, I think Plenty of Fish owns like all of them, or one of them owns, or Match owns all of them. So it's like Match.com, except for free. And so I like met this guy in this dating app, and we talked for a little bit. We decided we were gonna go out to dinner. And so we went to dinner, and we went to go get coffee afterwards. And I mean, the date in and of itself was terrible. He would not make eye contact with me. He was really self-deprecating and judgmental. And I was just really wanting like coffee. And so he was like, "Yo, let's go." And he was like, "Do you want me to drive?" I'm like, "No, sir, I just met you. Like, I will meet you there." And we go to have coffee, and he was complaining about his job, which, like, not to give too much away for his privacy, but like, it's the kind of job that you would have to be like really passionate about, I would think, to do it. And I was just like getting weird vibes, and he was telling me about his car at some point in the conversation, which was a manual transmission. And in the middle of the conversation is like, "Hey, do you want to go over to that deserted parking lot across the street so I can teach you how to drive my car?" And I was like, no, I absolutely do not want to do that. And then he started getting all pouty, and I was just like, okay, well, I think that's where I'm going to call it a night. And the entire time that we were walking back out to our cars, he was like, "Come on, let's just do it. Let's just really fast. Let's just teach you how to drive, man." And I'm like, "Bro, like, I'm not going to the deserted parking lot with you, you crazy person. Like, what?" And it was one of the wildest experiences, and a little terrifying. And I told Marina about it, and it made it into the book. And that's why I like that comment.
So to circle around that one line where Callie's like, why was he so obsessed with his manual transmission car? And that whole Mr. Stick Shift was inspired by Courtney's terrible date. So that will always be the Courtney.
Yeah, so that's my favorite, even though it's obviously not the best part of the book. It's like our secret little inside joke, and the fact that I have one of those in a book.
Yeah.
Happy.
Oh my God, I forgot about that scene. I feel like I always forget that until like I randomly like reread through it, and then I just start cracking up because I'm like, oh, that was Courtney's real life. Like, she went through that terrible date of the guy who was obsessed with his man.
What's funny about that is his name was not Eric, but the last guy I dated, which I also met online, who ghosted me, was named Eric. So, you know, it hits multiple times.
Right. I saw that in the future, apparently, and I was like,
apparently.
I'm Eric.
You just knew.
Okay, let's see. Another question. Oh, yeah. Well, you kind of already said this, but maybe not. If the males of the Order, or any of the characters, were real, do you know who would be your mate? Or who would you like to be your mate?
I mean, okay. I love Deacon. I love me a good nerd. I love me a hot, sexy nerd. That was always very appealing to me. But the alpha energy, that alpha energy. Oh, okay. Did I lose you? You paused for a second.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like I want to read all the books first and like really dive deep into their personalities. I don't feel like it would be either of the twins. I feel like they're too rowdy for me. That's like too much fiery Aries energy in the twins, and I'm like not about that. No. Like, been there, done that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's gonna make it harder for me to choose one if I like already know about them and like know how perfect their mates are for them. So I'm just like, I can't have any of them because they're taken and that's so perfect. Like, right? Because I'm like, well, Blake, I mean, that alpha wolf energy is like the sexiest shit ever. But they're so perfect for each other. So like, how can I say that? You know? I don't know, man. Riordan with that Irish accent.
Yeah.
I could, I don't know. Mr. GQ might be my man. I don't know yet.
I could totally see that. I feel like you guys would have like you as the Orion, not you as the wolf. If you were like to the earlier question, if you were like the wolf shifter,
yeah,
obviously you'd have to be with Blake because that would just be like, not because of being the same like animal, but because it's just the vibe.
Sure.
Queen vibe. You're the Queen Leo vibe, right? So, but yeah, you as the Steorian, I could totally see you and like Reardon like having Oh, my fan keeps falling out. Having conversations of like, I don't know, hours and hours upon end.
Okay, I think I pick him then. I feel like that's like my vibe most of the time. So that's my answer.
And like if you were with Deacon, you guys would be like watching the stars at night a lot. Like that's what he does. Like you'll maybe this is a spoiler, I don't know, but you'll see in book 3 like star watching is like a huge thing. It's like a huge part of like Steorian tradition or culture. I don't know what the word is there. That's like their practice. So they do that every night. They watch the stars at night, and then they see like the stories and what comes to them and what.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Okay. Let's see. Another question. Oh, do you have a character you wish you could be more like? I hope that question makes sense. Does it even make sense? Now that
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I don't know. There's like bits and pieces of so many characters that I admire. Like what you were talking about with Callie and how she can be like so quick on her feet, or like the resiliency of Kina. Like there's just, or the fieriness of Star, like the elemental that like I totally identify with that and would love to be able to like tap into that more. So yeah, just like talking about picking a mate, I feel like it's like picking and choosing all of these traits that I see. And I find that to be one of the best parts about reading things like this, especially like paranormal, whether it's romance or just regular, is the characters tend to exemplify certain extremely beautiful and strong traits. And because they're so connected to, like, they speak to like the primal parts of our subconscious.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be able to notice those parts within ourselves and then start to begin to nourish those areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I really admire this and I want to like apply that more to my life, whether it's being able to like really listen when someone's talking and see them and connect with them on a soul to soul level, whether it's being able to express and communicate things in a really succinct way, whether it's power or strength or boundaries, even if they're unhealthy. Like there's just so much that you are able to see because everything is so magnified in the species world,
Yeah. That definitely.
Yeah. So that I think is too hard to answer.
Yeah, sorry.
What about you? No, what about you?
Well, I agree with, I need to even go back to the question. Oh, yeah. So, do you have a character you wish you'd be more like? So, I'll go to the question in a second, but just to tack on to what you were saying, some things like when I'm writing, I guess I'll just say this as like a whole. I hope my books, one of the like intentions that I have when I'm writing these stories is that these stories are more than just stories, that they're opportunities for like healing in a way, if you want to use that word. And it's opportunities, like you were talking about, to look at a person, situation, place, or thing, or something that happens, and to see like how that sits with yourself, and to be like, I would have said this, or I would have done this differently, or oh, you know what, I actually might want to try that in real life. You know, like this
totally.
is a fantasy book, but like let's be real, like that was whatever it was, like that actually, so when I'm writing these books, I'm hoping that they are like those little like aha moments, and those like moments of like self-reflection, and like opportunities to just not only be like seen, felt, and heard, but also opportunities to do that with others, and like to practice doing that with others. Because like when you're reading, you're like bearing witness to their story as it unfolds, literally. So that's like a big relationship, like not just intimate relationship, but just like a life. I mean, I know you know all this, but anyway, so yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, like, it's good for everybody to hear when they go back and watch this,
Yeah. Yeah. So the stories are more than just stories. Surprise!
Yeah. It's medicine. It's like sacred medicine for us.
I agree. I mean, storytelling, I did that's the video I cried in. But I talked about how storytelling it's like a sacred practice, it's sacred, and for so many reasons. Stories are in our culture for countless reasons, and there's a reason why, it is educational and healing. Okay, so do you have a character you wish you'd be more like? Like you were saying, aspects of certain ones. So like Callie, like you were saying, I like how she's this fun character. I can't help but smile because she's so I don't know what the word is. She's not like innocent, but in a way she was innocent in this like not knowing the world, not knowing everything, and yet like not knowing without knowing all these details and everything about the world, and she's just like thrown in this situation of like, oh my god, this all exists, like what's happening? And even so, she just trusts her heart, and she just dives right in, and she's like, okay, I'm like feeling this vibe with Blake like so undeniably strong. Like I'm just gonna say yes, like okay, yes, we're gonna be together, like yeah, let's do this. Like not saying she's throwing caution to the wind, because she still is like, okay, this is crazy. Like this is insane, but at the same time, like I'm not going to like dampen my light, or like not do this because of the fear. Like she jumps in anyways. So like I really like that, and I appreciate that about her. And then with Star, well, I guess we'll go to Kina. So with Kina, I love her. Well, she's a mind and spirit healer, and so I just really love her vibe. It's just like this relaxed, like one with everything kind of a vibe. She's not like total like hippie, but she has like a spiritual hippie vibe, and I really like that, and how the way she thinks is very like I think Callie uses the word therapist-y. So she has like a therapist-y view, but it's like with a spiritual more mindfulness of a twist. And so I like that she has like this, as she goes through her journey, she like takes a step back, and she'll be like, okay, wait, let me think about this from like a different, like an outside perspective. And so she kind of breaks it down. She gets in her head a lot, so it's like a double-edged sword. But anyways, I like that she's able to be like an observer a lot of the time. And then Star, I mean, she's just a badass. Like I love Star. She's so feisty. She's so I mean, she literally can fight like nobody's business. She can hold her own, like, and she controlled fire. And I mean, she's just, you think of like a total, I think, what is the description in the book? Like Laura Cross, Miss America minus the boob job. Yeah, she's just feisty and fiery, and she like can fight, like not just defend herself, but she can like take down like other beings, like, you know, way bigger than her, and like with nobody's she's like self-taught, self-trained, very self-disciplined in that way. um and I love that. I really love that about her. She's like
Yeah.
the of like women's power in that like strong like warrior-esque kind of way. And I love that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to ask you this because it was what I was thinking about the whole time you're talking. Do you know the characters' zodiac signs?
Okay. Some, because I know some of their birthdays, but also not because then I'm like, but wait, like I don't know where in the astrology, because you know it depends on like where in the earth you were born. So it gets all wonky. So you astrology like buffs out there, this is not concrete by any means. So like Aaliyah, her birthday is a week before the winter solstice, so it's in mid-December. So technically that's Sag energy.
Okay.
So for her, but I don't know. I mean, like as a sun sign, I could totally see that for her. But as her moon sign, I don't know yet, because there's other layers, and you'll see that like as the stories progress. But she's the and then Star, I mean, she's fire elemental. Not like all fire elementals are fire signs, but she absolutely embodies like a fire sign, for sure.
For sure.
Her.
She's like triple fire.
She's like, her whole chart's fire, fire, fire.
Whole chart.
Like burn everything. Like she will literally just like.
I feel like too though, she could be like a fire sun, but then like, I don't know, something badass like a Scorpio moon.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but we also get to see in Deacon Star, we get to see the hidden layer, like behind the fire. We get to see what is going on, why the fire is so strong. Like why she has like walls of fire and fire and fire, and like don't get too close because you get burned. That's her vibe. But in book 3 we get to get a glimpse behind the fire, and we get to
Oh no. Oh, okay.
Wait, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Are you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, my sister was calling me. Speaking of Star was calling me. Star was calling me. She was like, people are talking about me.
Who gave you permission?
Right. So, anyways, so yeah, in Deacon Star we get to see glimpses behind the fire.
I love that.
Yeah, and we can kind of see like how she is the way she is and why. And it's interesting because when I was writing her story, even when I was writing it, she wasn't showing me. Like, she wasn't showing me her story. I had to go along in the story with Deacon in order to get the glimpses. And so, like, the first draft, it was like, I didn't know so much about her, like, by the end, because then I got, like, more glimpses as to, like, who she is and why she was doing the certain things she was. But she was almost like, just as she was holding Deacon back, she was, like, holding me back, too. She's like, no, you haven't earned the right to see just because, you know, like, you haven't earned that right. You have to go along for the ride.
This is a process, yeah.
It's a process. So it was interesting that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yay. So yeah, it's coming out. I don't know. It's still in editing, so I don't know exactly when. Later this year, though. Okay. Did we get through all the questions? Well, one of the questions, but was, do you have a book blog or bookstagram or anything like it? But I don't think you do, right?
A book what?
Sorry. let me talk really fast so you can
What?
with the fangs so you can't understand me. Do you have a book blog or like a bookstagram? I didn't think so either. Okay. That was just my last question.
There's bookstagrams?
It's like a bookstagram is like a, I know, I didn't know it either until, I guess it's been almost a year now that I've been doing this Instagram live thing, but I'm probably going to butcher the definition of bookstagram because I'm not a bookstagram expert. But I think bookstagram is like this broad category of people who have Instagram profiles dedicated to books and all the bookish things.
So not their books specifically, but like
not necessarily
just books they love.
Yeah, like some of them are just, they have like book blogs, and so they'll like post that, or they'll like post their reviews, or they'll just post with their books. It's like a whole community.
Maybe I should have one.
It's a whole
maybe you've inspired me.
What?
Maybe you've inspired me. Okay. I just decided right in this moment, just now, that because I'm on, like, I don't even know what it's called, Book Talk. It's like the book side of TikTok, and I'm just gonna start saving them, and I'm gonna start sending them to you.
To do so. That's like what my understanding of Bookstagram is like the Book Talk of Instagram. So like it's the book side of Instagram.
It's just so much fun. They have all these fun games, and they talk about really cool stuff. And maybe I will start the MC Solaris TikTok, and I will just be the spokesperson of it, and then I will make hilarious content and wonderful content, and we're gonna blow you up until everybody in the world has a copy of all of your books. This is my job. I just gave it to myself. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. We're obviously going to wear the fangs and the wigs. And
obviously. Yes. Absolutely.
And I'm going to have to fix this one that keeps falling out.
I don't even know. Like, I was afraid these were going to, but they're hanging in there. I did a pretty good job. That's also because I watched like 10 videos and then asked you like 100 times to then make sure I wasn't going to fuck it.
Right. I was the guinea pig, and I used up my 2 tries. So.
Can you order just the capsules and this stuff?
I don't know, but I want to order the double fangs anyway, so I think it'll give me an extra.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I'm excited to see what those look like.
The double fangs?
Yeah.
I know, I was trying to figure out, like, which teeth it would go on, you know? I think it'd have to be the second one. Would that only leave the front
The first 2. That was one of the things that I didn't like about True Blood. It bothered me that they only had fangs out of these teeth.
Oh.
And I was like, that's not where they go. Why do you think they call them canines? Like, I was so mad about it. It's just what my brain does, I guess.
It is. Okay, well, that's all the questions that I had. Did you have anything else you wanted to ask? That's all my questions.
I would say no, I don't. I thought I was going to, but then it didn't come. There was something, but it was gone.
No worries. So, if you let me see who's. Oh, we had like people that were here.
Hi, Melanie.
Oh. Hello, looking, sorry. Hey, Astarula, hey, Kim. Hello, everyone. Okay, so.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yes, actually, good question, Courtney. Do you have
that we didn't cover, or do you guys have answers to any of the questions that we did ask?
Right, yeah, just a recap of the questions.
You know?
If you lived in the species world, what would you be?
The hardest question of all of them.
The hardest. Decided we don't want to answer that, and we want
every single
all
species.
Of the above.
Yes.
Any choice we want to be. Do you have a favorite quote or scene from Calypso's Heart or Riker's Key? Obviously, Courtney's was the stick shift. The stick shift, terrible date. Who would be your mate of all the characters? Which one do you think would be your mate?
Okay, hold on. I don't remember this scene like in super vivid detail because it's been a long time since I read Calypso's Heart. There was a scene where Blake and Callie were fighting and she's like in the forest. She like runs away. Will you remind me about that, because I can't remember the details, but I remember like crying about it because it was like so beautiful. Like, what was that scene?
Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of the, but I guess you can't get rid of the
comment. No, like once you like scroll up, then my face is just totally covered.
Yeah, that's why I can't see your face. I can't see your fangs anymore. What the heck? Okay, so okay, I cried during the wolf scene too. I mean, I shouldn't say the wolf scene. There's like wolves throughout the entire book. That wolf scene specifically. Okay, so yeah, they just got into a fight. Callie and Blake just got into a fight. And so she's kind of like storming off and doing her own thing in the wilderness of an unknown world. Like, not smart, Callie.
Yeah, but like that was part of the thing that I admired about that, is like I would have never had the guts to just be like, well, fuck you, I'm bouncing, I don't know where the fuck I am or what I'm gonna do, but I'm pissed and I'm just gonna be pissed. Like, I was like, yes, like even though it was dumb, I was like there for it. Okay, continue.
So that's the part of the fun part of Callie, where she's just like, she just makes the decision and she just like go, you know, it's like, I'm feeling this way, so I'm doing it, you know, like whether. Anyway, so she totally stormed off. Was that the scene that you're talking about, though? It must be, because there's two scenes. So it's like earlier, before the fight, Blake introduces her to the wild wolves. Is that what you were talking about, or no? You're talking about afterwards. So
I remember that scene. I remember loving that scene, but it was the one after that.
Okay, so just to provide a little bit of background for everyone, Blake is an alpha wolf shifter, and he, on his land where he lives, because he's such a strong alpha wolf, other even wild wolves, non-shifters, are just drawn to his alpha energy, like, naturally, and so they kind of like, there's a wild wolf pack that is on his land, and he's like friends with them. He's not their alpha, but they like know he's alpha of the land. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like the wild wolves have their own like pack alpha, but he's also like alpha, so not of the wild wolves. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. So anyways, Blake introduces Callie to the wild wolves, and she has like this moment with them, and then Blake and her go off into the woods and they like do their own thing. And then in the woods, and then they get into a fight. Later on, they get into a fight, and Callie storms off. And then when Callie storms off, doesn't know, she's just so pissed, and she's not even. You'll find out like when you read the story, she's not even like. It just comes out. It's like, you know, when you get in a fight with someone and it's like, it's not about the insert whatever it was that blew you up. It's not the whatever. It's really about, and then you dig underneath and you're like, okay, yeah, all the other things. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. So Callie had that moment, and then she just storms off into the woods. And so she storms off into the woods and she tells Blake, like, don't follow me, like, I'm pissed, like, don't even. Again, it's like Callie. But anyways, so she storms off into the woods and she's like, don't do it, I'm serious, like, I'm done. And then makes it very clear. And so Blake, being like the respectful like alpha that he is, he's going to like respect the boundaries that she set, but also he's like, I'm a protector, so I'm not just gonna let her like go off into the woods alone. So as Callie's storming off, she hears like a sound behind her, and then she turns around and she's like, Blake, I swear. And then she realizes it's not Blake who's behind her. It's the two wild wolves. And she has this moment where she's like, oh my God, like when Blake was here, he's like alpha, so she like felt safe. But now she's like not only not a wolf, but she's like a nobody, and she's like, I don't even know how to act around wolves, and these are wild, so it's not like I can be like, hey. But she does. She actually talks to them, and she's like, says something like, hey, everything's okay, or like, hi. Trying to be all nice, and like, because she's not sure how they're gonna react. And then their body language clearly communicates to her like they're not being aggressive or anything. And so then she just has this moment with them, and it's like very healing for her. And it's like they come up to her and they're not being aggressive, and she just sits down on the ground like Blake taught her to do, to be like in a non-aggressive like mode. And so she's sitting on the ground, and then when they come up to her, she just breaks down and starts crying. And then the real reason of like why she's upset like comes out. So these wolves are kind of like holding space for her as she's like going through this moment of healing. And that I've heard, and I've never experienced it. I'd love to, but I've heard that in real life, in this real human earth world here, there is like going to like, there's this thing as like healing with wolves, like a real like healing with wolves, and you go into like these wolf sanctuaries or wherever, and these wolves, like you sit with them and it's like therapy. And I feel like Callie had this like therapeutic moment with these wild wolves, and it's like this, I've heard of this really happening in real life. And so I feel like that's kind of like what she was experiencing, was this moment of like healing with the wolves, and she was crying. And then they ended up like showing her the way home because she didn't know where she was going. But so they like helped her out. But yeah, so I think that's the scene you're probably talking about.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, that was so powerful. And I think I had actually sat with the wolves in my experience prior to reading that, and I think that was probably why it hit so close to home with me. Because
experience that you've actually sat with wild wolves before, or like, yeah, you have, right?
Yeah, and like to have this enormous wild animal, this predator, like come up to you. And so like the way that wolves accept you, not necessarily like into pack, but like accept that you are there and around their pack, and that they recognize that you're not a threat, is that they come up and they lick your face.
Oh, interesting.
That's what they do. And the wolf in the first experience that I had, there was several, but the one that was alpha was also very vocal. And it was not an aggressive vocalization, but it, as a human, pretty indistinguishable. And so when he would come up and lick my face, I could like literally feel like his teeth like grazing against my cheek, and he's like making these like guttural growls as he's doing it. And I was like
freaked out.
it was terrifying and liberating, and there's not a word to describe what it feels like to have a moment like that with a wild animal. Yeah. Because it's not something that we experience as humans. It's just not part of like how we communicate or work with each other. And so to have that moment with an animal that is obviously incredibly smart and incredibly powerful, but doesn't think the way that we do, and doesn't, create their lives the way that we do, to have that moment of like acceptance and understanding was, and mutual respect, I think too, because there were a lot of rules we had to follow. One of the big ones being, if it's an alpha wolf, if it's any wolf, but especially if it's an alpha wolf, you can never come up and over the head, because that's an aggressive move. It has to always be down here, because that shows that you're not trying to like sneak attack on them. And so yeah, just like the mutual respect between just like the primal parts of who I am and this animal was like just an incredible experience. And so yeah, to read that after also having my experience was, I think it just like pulled at heartstrings like so powerfully. And I'm just like, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Animals are so healing.
They are, yeah. And I was talking about wolves, so you're right. I mean, they're animals, any animal, creature, plants can be super healing. So, yeah. And that's so interesting. I did not know that about the face, but I think, I'm after this live, I'm going to go back and look at that scene, but I think they actually do lick her face.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I could be wrong. They do. There is a scene. Oh man, I don't want to give a spoiler, but I'll say there's a scene in a future book where they for sure are very loving in that way.
I love that that's something that you just like incorporated without knowing the specifics of that it was just like an innate knowing on your part.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm trying to, I'll have to go back and look. They do lick her. I can't remember if it's on the face or not. Yeah. But anyways.
I was seeing if I could just randomly open to that page all of a sudden.
Like you did with the other.
Like I did with the other one.
I still don't know how you found that page.
Neither do I.
You're like, oh, I got it. Hold on.
Here it is. Page 13.
Whoop. Yeah, that was crazy. Okay. Whew. How long have we? Okay, yeah. So an hour. We have been doing this for an hour.
Yeah.
Do you have other questions or? I don't think there was anything. Can you see the comments too? Just curious.
I can see some of them, but there are some people that have private accounts, I think, that I can't see that they're viewing and I can't see their comments or questions.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for thank you, Courtney, for being here.
Thank you.
Being a guinea pig, testing this out with me, being fun and silly with our wigs and our fangs.
Always.
Just keeping this like a friend chat. I do have some other lives planned in the works over the next several weeks. And it's just going to be like, maybe in the other ones I won't wear the wig or the fangs, but it'll just be casual chatting about the books, like whatever comes up. It's nothing super structured. I just envisioned having like in this day and age, like we're still starting to like open up and being able to be in person, but some of these some of you are in totally different parts of the world, and so I just wanted to like open up a line and like chat with you guys about all things books, all things Orion's Order, and so I felt called to do this. So you will see more of these in the future. Courtney, if you guys, well, yeah, I mean, Courtney, I'm always down to chat with you. Whenever you want, we can always.
Anytime. I'm live on Instagram every single day, most of the time, multiple times. So, I'm always down for this.
So, Courtney, we can get on the phone. This is the phone, but anyways. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for being the guinea pig.
Thank you for inviting me. This was super, super fun. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you. And thank you for all of you who have joined.
Yes.
You for if you're watching now live or if you're watching in the future. I hope this was fun and entertaining and all the things for an hour.
Oh, thanks for the hearts.
So thank you. Thank you. Yay.
Bye.
Like this, then pop in the comment, let us know, and we can always do more.
Yes, definitely. So down.
Okay. Thank you, Courtney. Thank
You're
you,
welcome. See you
Bye.
later.